Hello, and welcome to episode 14 of The Adoption Door, otherwise known as episode 7 of the second season of this podcast. I'm your host, Andres, and this here is a place of non-judgment where people just like you can send in their stories and I read them, or they record it themselves and send it in to me as an MP3 file, and I add it in that way. If you'd like to send in your own story, you can email it to me at theadoptiondoor@gmail.com. Okay, having said that, let's get into our first story, which comes to us anonymously. And this person writes, I was ecstatic when my spouse and I finally decided to adopt a child. We went through all the necessary legal procedures, filled out countless forms, and eagerly awaited the day we would bring our new family member home. The adoption agency matched us with a sweet little girl named Emma, and we immediately fell in love with her photo. Our first meeting with Emma was filled with joy and anticipation. She was a shy and timid 6-year-old girl, but we felt a connection right away. We started the process of bonding with her, spending as much time as possible together and showering her with love and affection. However, as the days turned into weeks, we began to notice subtle signs of trouble. Emma would often withdraw into herself, refusing to engage in conversations and participate in family activities. She became increasingly defiant, lashing out at us and her new siblings for no apparent reason. It was heartbreaking to witness such a drastic change in her behavior. We reached out to the adoption agency for guidance and support, hoping they could shed some light on the situation. They informed us that Emma had experienced significant trauma in her early childhood, which could be the root cause of her difficulties. They suggested therapy and counseling to help her process her emotions and adjust to her new life. We followed their advice and sought professional help for Emma. However, despite our best efforts and the expertise of therapists, her behavior continued to deteriorate. It became clear that we were ill-equipped to handle the magnitude of her emotional challenges. Our family, once filled with hope and excitement, was now consumed by tension and frustration. After months of agonizing over what was best for Emma and our other children, we made the heartbreaking decision to dissolve the adoption. It was an incredibly difficult choice, as we had poured our hearts and souls into creating a loving home for her. But we had to prioritize her well-being and acknowledge that our family dynamic was not conducive to her healing. While the adoption had initially brought us much joy, it ultimately ended in heartache for everyone involved. We learned firsthand, not every adoption journey unfolds as expected. It served as a painful reminder that the wounds of trauma can run deep and require extensive support and resources to heal. Well, that was certainly hard to hear. I'm so sorry things didn't work out for you two and Emma. Tough call, but glad she was able to eventually get the help she needed. Our next story comes to us from Amanda, and she writes, My name is Amanda, and I remember the day vividly, the bittersweet mixture of emotions coursing through my veins as I made the agonizing decision to give my precious child up for adoption. It was a heart-wrenching choice, but one that I knew deep down was in the best interest of my little baby girl. As a young, single mother overwhelmed by circumstances, I faced the harsh reality of my limitations. Financial struggles, limited support, and a future filled with uncertainty were the burdens I couldn't bear to pass upon my innocent little child. I wanted nothing more than to provide a life filled with love, stability, and opportunities that I couldn't offer at that moment. I embarked on a painstaking journey to find the perfect family who would cherish my child as their own. Countless hours were spent sifting through their profiles, reading heartfelt stories, and envisioning the future of my little one deserved. It was both overwhelming and empowering, knowing that I held the power to choose the family who would shape my daughter's life. The day finally arrived when I met the adoptive parents, and my heart immediately recognized their genuine love and warmth. They radiated joy and readiness to embrace the responsibility of raising a child. Through tear-filled conversations, we shared our hopes, dreams, and fears, laying the foundation for an open adoption filled with trust, communication, and mutual respect. The day we said our goodbyes was a mixture of immense pain and indescribable relief. Holding my child for the last time, I whispered my love and whispered promises of always being there, even from afar. As I handed my precious bundle over, I felt an excruciating ache in my heart, questioning my decision. yet knowing it was the most selfless act of love I could offer. Days turned into months, and months turned into years. Though the ache of separation remained, I witnessed my daughter thriving in the loving arms of her adoptive parents. I received updates, letters, and pictures, each capturing the beautiful milestones and shared moments. It was a bitter reminder of the void in my life, but also a testament to the happiness and the love she was experiencing. Years later, I find solace in knowing that I made the right choice. Seeing my daughter grow into a remarkable individual, surrounded by love, stability, and countless opportunities, reaffirms my decision. While the ache lingers, I take comfort in the knowledge that my daughter is where she is meant to be, thriving in a family that is in her forever home. The journey of giving up a child for adoption is one of profound sacrifice, boundless love, and immeasurable strength. It is a decision etched into the depth of a mother's soul, forever shaping the lives of all involved. And though the pain endures, the knowledge that my child is flourishing brings a bittersweet peace to my heart. Thank you very much for sharing your story, Amanda. It certainly was a very powerful one. Your decision to put up your daughter for adoption was obviously not an easy one, but was seemingly most prudent in order to give her a better life. Okay, our next story comes to us from James. I have very limited information about him, like just his name. So I don't know how old he was when he embarked upon his journey for through adoption, but that's okay. His story is still important to us, just the same. And he writes, "Hi, I'm James, and I'd like to share my point of view as an adoptee, if that's okay. I'd like to say that the journey through the adoption process was a roller coaster of emotions and experiences. From the moment I became aware of my adoption, a mix of curiosity, excitement, and apprehension consumed me. Here is a glimpse into my first-hand account of going through the adoption process. My story begins with a deep longing to understand my roots as I grew older. Questions about my biological family and the circumstances surrounding my adoption intensified. These inquiries fueled my desire to embark upon the search for my identity. The first step involved contacting the adoption agency that facilitated my adoption. I had to provide them with my personal information, such as my birth name, birth date, and any details I knew about my biological parents. It was a bittersweet moment as I was torn between the excitement of potentially discovering my origins and the fear of uncovering painful truths. After submitting my request, a period of waiting ensued. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. It felt like an eternity as I anxiously anticipated any news from the agency. Every email or phone call became a source of hope, tinged with a fear of disappointment. Finally, the long-awaited moment had arrived. The adoption agency informed me that they had located my birth parents and initiated contact with them. Emotions overwhelmed me as I processed the significant moment. I was on the verge of uncovering a part of my life that had remained a mystery for so long. The agency facilitated the exchange of letters between my birth parents and myself, allowing us to share our stories, feelings, and questions. Each letter was like a treasure, containing fragments of my past that were gradually piecing together. It was a delicate dance of building trust, understanding, and empathy through the written word. As the correspondence deepened, the agency deemed it appropriate for us to meet in person. The meeting day approached with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Would they accept me? Would I feel a connection? Countless thoughts raced through my mind, but I knew I had to take this step. The meeting was filled with raw emotions. Tears were shed, hugs exchanged, and the stories were shared. It was a moment of profound vulnerability and acceptance. In that instant, the concept of family expanded beyond blood ties. I realized that love and connection can transcend biology. In the years that followed, my relationship with my birth family evolved. We forged a bond based on mutual understanding, respect, and love. We celebrated milestones, shared joys, supported each other through difficult times. The adoption process that brought us together, weaving a new tapestry of interconnected lives. Reflecting on my journey as an adoptee, I've come to appreciate the intricacies of the adoption process. It's a path that intertwines hope, longing, and discovery. While it can be emotionally challenging, it also has the power to bring immense joy and fulfillment. Through adoption, I've not only found my roots, but also gained a newfound appreciation for complexity and beauty of family. Thank you, James, for your account as an adoptee, and I would also like to thank the person who sent their story anonymously, as well as Amanda. We all appreciate you taking the time to send in your stories. Well, that does it for this episode. Once again, if you'd like to send in your own story, you may do so by sending it into theadoptiondoor@gmail.com. Wherever you catch these episodes, I certainly appreciate you liking and subscribing to it. It really helps me out and does not go unnoticed. Once again, I'm your host, Andres, and I'm truly grateful for your listenership. And as always, be good to yourself and be good to